Hi, Jacqueline. Welcome
Hello.
to your first Partner AI Forum.
It is. It
Thank you for
is.
coming.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Why don't
It's
we
a
just start?
homecoming.
Yes, why don't we just start with a brief introduction of yourself, but for the
Absolutely.
audience?
So Jacqueline Rice Nelson, co-founder and CEO of Tribe AI. We are an AI specialist partner for Google. Our mission, the reason we exist, is to power the enterprise AI wave. So we are doing large AI transformation projects for some of the biggest companies in the world and really helping them get value out of your tooling stack, but also out of AI more broadly.
That is great. I've been looking forward to this conversation, as you know, but let's start off with a little fun. Why don't we start with, how would you leverage a personal Gemini agent to make your life a little easier?
So as you can imagine, I spend a lot of my time working. I
Yes.
also have two kids, young kids, and so my favorite go-to is like automating all the school emails, the
Okay.
camp emails, really making sure it automatically connects to my Google Calendar and all of the pieces. I need all of the leverage I can get in my personal life so I can go focus on my professional life. So today, my favorite agent is my husband, but I really need Gemini to take over more and more.
Well, that is great. And I know I leverage it myself, with all the briefings we do.
Yeah.
I love hearing an audio podcasts,
Oh, yeah.
so I do that and
Notebook
stuff like
LM
that.
is
Yes, Notebook
amazing.
LM's
It's
amazing.
amazing.
But let's get right into it. As a enterprise CEO, I have a whole bunch of cards here and
Love
a
it.
lot of questions I want to
I feel like
ask
we're
you.
playing
But
Uno.
I know I'll
Yeah.
pull out one. But when you build custom AI solutions, how do you work with your customers so they know where to start? They balance things like ROI versus time to value based on all your expertise and those types of things to make AI a reality in their environment.
Yeah, this is the number one question in the industry. So
Yes.
how can CEOs, how can companies get value out of AI?
Yeah.
And I would say when companies come to us, they generally have an idea
Hmm.
of something they want to do. They're believers in the power of AI. They want to believe,
Right.
but they don't totally know what it can do. And CEOs have a lot on their plate. They're
Yes.
running a company, they're running a business that existed long before AI. They have more competitive pressure than ever. If they're public and they have any sort of disruption potential, they might be getting hammered in the public markets. They have a board that is on them and pressuring them to do more and more with AI. And then the way that kind of cascades through an organization is complicated because this is a new technology. It's really hard to keep up with. And so what we do is try to meet them where they are. So first, it's kind of how do you get them, let's say they come to us and they're focused on efficiency, right? It's easy for a CEO to understand. I can do the same things I'm doing today with less, work, maybe fewer people, but mostly like just more streamlined operations. So meet them there, which is okay. Let's show you what's possible with that thing you have in mind. But then it's really our job because we get to see across the entire landscape. We have such a privileged position where we are like they're struggling to keep up with AI. The gap is that the technology is powerful, but their ability to go make it work in an enterprise is really, really tough. And that's a capability gap. Because this is all we do, because we are the AI experts, and because we get to see patterns across the entire industry, we can leverage the best of what is actually possible to help them really push the boundaries and be more ambitious in their goals. And so we might meet them where they are, show them that it's possible to get value, but frankly, all of that is table stakes today. And so it's really more about helping them reimagine what is possible for their business in an like AI first way, really think about the value they can deliver to customers, how they can change the way they operate internally for their most critical processes and actually create massive value, but also like really play to win, play offense instead of defense.
Yeah, I love that. One of the things you talk about is not just the art of what's possible, But I think your real differentiator is you actually can make it a reality in customers' environment. Can you tell me a little bit about, how you differentiate that? Because that's sort of a key right now. I tell people AI is a journey, not a transaction. You
That's right.
actually take customers on that journey type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the word transformation, so we didn't mention, but I started my career at Google. We used to talk about digital
Right,
transformation. We
right,
talked about mobile transformation. This is really, they have to transform.
right.
And what does that mean? It means problem selection matters. It means the idea, the thing you are applying and pointing AI to matters a lot. But then you also have to have the capabilities to go make it real. And so we can take them from helping to make sure they're pointed in the right direction, but then be the hands on keyboard specialists that actually can go build the systems, build the products that can actually operate in their environment, integrated into their systems, leveraging their data, and ultimately unlocking their institutional knowledge as a core asset for the business. Today, it is kind of a latent thing that it
Yes,
exists,
yes.
but is not really used as an advantage. And that I think is the real mission and potential of what's possible with AI.
Well, you talk about the capabilities to make it real, and I do think that's a key
Yeah.
differentiator. One of the questions I had is you're a fast-growing startup,
Yeah.
right? When you think about AI, right, as an ultimate co-founder, of a company, how are you working with AI sort of behind the scenes to help you scale what you just talked about?
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. We are in pure hypergrowth mode.
Yes.
And that means it's very top of mind because this week we have a new hire onboarding class that just started.
Yes.
So they're currently in my office right now. And what used to happen, you would sit in a room, we would do like some kind of training,
Right.
and then you would probably have months before people were productive.
Right.
That's not good enough.
Yes. Yes.
And by the way, that applies for not just employees, but also onboarding people onto projects.
Right.
So if I'm working with customers for years at a time, I need different specialists in different moments in time. I need to be able to bring people onto projects with no lag and have them be productive day one. And so what does that mean? It actually goes back to what I was just talking about with unlocking the knowledge base of an organization and creating kind of a internal or operational operating system. And so we have done that in a variety of ways, both for our internal employees, but then also for anyone new coming onto a project. So they can hit the ground running day one because they have the access of the full knowledge base of everything we've done with that customer. Recorded calls, like the rich history, with, of course, a lot of guardrails,
Right. Right.
but that enables them to really be effective from day one. And I think for me as a business owner, that's so powerful because I think about, one, how do I attract and get the best people on my team? And then how can I go get the most out of them? How can I get the best out of them? And a lot of this work actually informed some of our work with customers. So we have a large $1 trillion company that we work with where they had this problem for their sales team. How do they actually make every seller on their team as productive as their best seller, their chief customer officer, right? And so we built a tool in his likeness. It's a coaching tool. It leverages the full data and corpus of knowledge of that company, and a lot of the particulars of how they would train people, but it actually pushes them. So it's not just giving them answers. It's not just information retrieval. It's actually challenging them to be better. And as a hyper-scaling organization like Tribe, we don't have time to be managing people at that level, but I want everyone to get that level of coaching and be able to improve at a really accelerated rate. And so these tools have created that environment both for us, but also for our customers as well.
So that means you probably have tools that can even make me an FDE over time?
I know, This is why I don't think there's an FDE shortage.
One of the things when you think about that, and once again, I love your story, we go way back, right? What are some of the core features you built as an organization to really help customers in this transformation?
Meaning, what are the things we build for customers?
Yes, exactly, right. Just examples. I love to go through, and I always say, give me some examples to help make it,
make
a
it
reality.
real.
For our customers.
Yeah. So one example I was sharing with some folks on your team this morning is a company called Coke Industries. So we worked with Charles and Chase Coke. They have tens of thousands of employees, largest private company in America. And it's actually quite similar to what I was talking about. They have an approach that has made them really successful as a company. And they wanted to actually leverage that for their employee base so they could actually make them better at their jobs, get a lot more productivity. But then they actually also wanted to release it publicly and scale those learnings to everyone. And so that's an example of a custom end-to-end tool. Now we're actually integrating it into their workflows. So into every product and sort of platform within the company so that it's just not this standalone experience, but really integrated. Another example would be like for DirecTV. I think this is an example of something that really wouldn't have been possible before. Both are. Right. But a like automated, QA testing of a massive streaming launch that's across platforms, across systems. What would have happened? You would have had these really brittle systems that anytime you changed something, like, all of the testing scripts would have broken. You would have required a lot of human review. And now you can actually do things like screen capture. You don't have to hard code these things like the button is over here. You can just say, press enter and it will figure it out. And so it's really kind of, I think, just really shows where some of the new interfaces are going, because we can start to build differently for problems that we've experienced and haven't been able to solve, like the problem of scaling your team and helping to make them better every day, or building new products and testing to make sure they meet your quality standards.
Okay, so one last question.
Yeah.
I'll go a little bit off script
I love it.
type of thing here, put you on the spot. It's amazing work you and your team are doing. You get to see a lot of customers, as you talked about, and work. And Google, from your history, we're an innovation house, right?
Yeah.
When you look at AI technology, what's the one thing you're sort of most excited about sort of looking down the road for what you do and for our customers?
I think we are nowhere near stability. And I think that is so exciting. So I believe that we are in an innovation cycle, and we are in it. Like, I don't think we are nearing the end. I don't think that we're just in implementation mode. Like, we are in it. Yes. And I think places like Google are driving that innovation and really helping to create what's possible. It is happening at such a rate that it is really hard for people to absorb. And that is fundamentally the challenge in the market right now, is this implementation gap. But to me, what makes me so excited is that I know that it will not stay the way it is at any moment in time.
Right.
And so like I love that we keep seeing these new releases that really push the boundaries on what's possible. And that we are actually in this really competitive market. And that means that innovation is like really challenged and accelerated even more. So I am such a lover of this technology. I'm such a power user. And so the new releases are incredibly exciting. It's also sometimes really disorienting. And so being the ones who can use it first, figure it out, and then help be the sense makers in the market, it sort of aligns all of our interests and the things that I think get me, but also all of Tribe, so excited. And I think we just really like playing that role in the ecosystem of being that Sherpa, if you will.
Well, Jacqueline, first, I just want to again thank you for coming and joining us at the Partner AI Forum. Hopefully you come back to many more.
Can't wait.
Second, we're both high energy people. I share the excitement about your capabilities, really helping customers fill that gap. And I look forward to working with you to really make our customers a hero as we move forward. So thank you for your time.
You are the best. I think the customer-centric approach is so shared. Probably I learned it here. And so just thrilled to work together.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.